Today, the mainstream media gets their facts wrong. Those leaning far left aren't happy with the status quo. Americans have never seen this much disinformation being disseminated. Watch the news, then listen to The Spearsy Spin with political commentator Mike Spears. The Spearsy Spin, now on Google, Twitter, Facebook, thespearsyspin.blogspot.com, and YouTube. Many listeners refer to Mike Spears as the new Walter Cronkite.
It's time once again for The Spearsy Spin with your host, the young and semi-talented Mike Spears.
Hi folks, and welcome to The Spearsy Spin for Tuesday, April 11th, 2017. Well, the news is never easy to report when it entails the loss of innocent life, but it is so very hard to report when the news reports about the unnatural death of a child. The following story is courtesy of Fox News, California. A school shooting in the San Bernardino, California elementary school has left a teacher and an 8-year-old student dead in a murder-suicide action. A special needs teacher and an 8-year-old boy were shot and killed in the murder-suicide at the Southern California elementary school. That was yesterday, Monday. San Bernardino Police Department Chief Jared Bergen said the 53-year-old Cedric Anderson walked into the North Park Elementary School and opened fire on his wife, Karen Elaine Smith, also 53. That happened shortly before 10:30 a.m. Two students were wounded in the shooting, one of them identified as 8-year-old Jonathan Martinez, who was later pronounced dead at a local hospital. The other injured student, age 9, was in stable condition. Bergen said both students were standing behind Smith when the shooting began, but he does not believe that they were targeted. The chief said Anderson had a criminal record, including weapons and domestic violence charges, but said he had no specifics at the time. The chief also said Anderson and Smith had only been married for a very few months and had been estranged for the last month. San Bernardino City Unified School District Superintendent Dale Martson said Anderson was known to staff at the school and told workers that he had come to drop something off for his wife. This happened just before the shooting. As word of the shooting spread, panicked parents raced to the school, some in tears, some praying, as they anxiously sought information about their children. They were told to go to a nearby high school where they would be reunited with their children. 4 hours later, the children began to arrive at the high school, getting hugs from emotional parents. As the students got off the buses, many of them carrying glow sticks that had been given to them by the police department, kept them busy and their minds off current events. And later, as they got off the buses, police officers were there to greet them and gave the kids high fives. Among those waiting anxiously at the high school for her 9-year-old granddaughter's return was Alberta Terrell, who said she cried with relief when she was told that a family member saw the girl getting safely onto a bus. "I was really elated, but I won't be truly happy until I see her and can give her a big hug," Terrell said, as she sat in the bleachers near Cajun High School's baseball diamond. San Bernardino is a city of 216,000 people. It's about 60 miles east of Los Angeles, and of course it was the unfortunate site of the 2015 terror attack that killed 14 people and wounded 22 others at a meeting of the San Bernardino County employees. The husband and wife shooters, Syed Rizwan Farouk and Tashfeen Malik, were later killed in a gun battle with authorities. Yesterday's shooting was the latest tragedy for a city that has struggled in recent years with more than its share of terror. In the past year, however, the city seemed to be making a recovery. This according to Chief Bergen, who won national praise for the way his department responded to the 2015 shootings at the meeting of the San Bernardino County Employees Get-Together. The chief announced last year that he would be hiring additional officers. And for those of you who have known me and some of the folks in my social circles, we have always been a big proponent of having professionally trained folks in the schools with guns. And let me clarify that. We're talking about not just handing a teacher, principal, vice principal, school psychologist, or whatever, a handgun and say, well, lots of luck. What we have talked about, and when I say we collectively, that would be folks like myself, along with the NRA, and many law enforcement officials feel the same way. And that is to provide training to individuals within the school setting that would allow individuals to carry guns, handguns, but be trained not only as a basic individual, but to take that a step further and actually provide law enforcement training with regard to the handling of these guns. And you can take it even a couple steps further when you can do this either through the NRA or actually through police department training, police academies, and so on. I think that all of us have come to a realization, and I even have friends who over the years were against this idea, but now have come to embrace it. Here's why. One of the things that we know in society today, that we are dealing with a large group of people that are either mentally inept or they have mental health issues. We know these folks are there, and we know that sadly they act out. And it's when they act out and they make these horrific headlines in the news, that's when we tend to stop. We tend to wonder, what is this? Why is this? And of course, you have the anti-gun people who are saying forever that we just have to get rid of all the guns. Well, they being the mentally ill, are going to find other ways to do harm, to kill people, to kill lots of people, okay? This is a driven fact, and I could sit here and prattle on with psychobabble and labels and theories and ideologies, but suffice it to say that we're past the point of trying to identify the good from the bad. But what we have to do at this point in time is we have to provide a safe haven. And the only way to provide a safe haven is to take down those dumb-ass signs that say gun-free zone. That's just an invitation for anybody to come into a soft target area and wreak havoc. This is what we think. I'd like to know what you think. So visit us, would you please, at thespearsy.blogspot.com. Let us know what you think. We've got to take a break. When we come back, we will have a clip from Fox News about the shooting here, and then we'll finish up with some thoughts.
Don't go away. We have to pay some bills, and then we're coming back with Mike Spears.
Hello, this is Captain Jack Sparrow. So you've already met this dastardly scoundrel who calls himself Mike Spears. That would mean that you're listening to the Spearsy Spin. Right. By my reckoning, if you give a thumbs up and subscribe, this would make you one of the crew. Savvy?
What kind of government cares more about appeasing Islamic terrorists than defending the constitutional rights of its citizens? A government that would disarm us during the age of terror. Nothing would make us more vulnerable to generations of suffering and slaughter than the destruction of our Second Amendment. But many of our politicians aided by a relentless media, are launching that attack themselves. They dream of joining the rest of the disarmed peoples of the world, entrusting our survival to the mercy of monsters. The greatest damage the terrorists could ever inflict upon us is disarmament at the hands of the political elites. But we will never offer our right to survive as a fool's ransom to the world's killers. Our freedom is what they fear most. I'm the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
Fox News alert, an investigation now underway into a deadly shooting at an elementary school in California. The shooting has reportedly left 2 dead and 2 others in critical condition. Trace Gallagher is live with more on that. Trace.
And Dana, the 2 dead are 2 adults. Apparently, the police chief says one of them is a teacher. The other one is believed to be a shooter. And this did happen inside one of those classrooms, though we do not know what grade level the classroom was. We know that 2 others, we believe are students, were taken by medical helicopter to local hospitals. Their conditions are reportedly critical. The police chief says there is no more danger, but that has not stopped first responders from going classroom to classroom and kind of using an old Hurricane Katrina technique by marking an X on the front of the door to say that they have checked out those classrooms. You see these live pictures here of the students. They are now being transported to other areas, a middle school, as well as a local university, to be picked up by their parents. One parent was very surprised by this, telling a local news station that, in fact, this is a very secure school, North Park Elementary, and that there is a gate to get inside the school. So the parent was very surprised to learn that somebody had actually gotten inside the school with a weapon. Updates as they come in. Dana.
All right, thank you.
That, of course, Fox News reporting. But here is the crux of this situation. Since the Columbine school shooting, and back then I wasn't doing this show, I was actually writing for occasional paper here and there, the guest columnist thing and whatever. And I had done an excerpt of what I called Message in a Bullet, because it was Columbine that actually set us on this course that we see now. And you're always going to have people of varying degrees of education that are going to be sporting thoughts, theories, and ideologies of what's best and what isn't best to handle this. And that's been going on since Columbine. The result is nothing's changed. And so if we are looking at a history of nothing changing, then as an educated person, it would appear to me that what we're doing is suspect of failure. With that said, our position, and when I say our position, it is a group such as myself, NRA, and so on, who say we must protect innocent people. In this case, innocent children, innocent school children. What they've been doing doesn't work. Putting up signs that say no gun zone does not work. So I think it's time that we understand that we live in a different society. We live in a society today that is fueled by drugs. It is fueled by mental illness. It is fueled by hatred. It is fueled by bigotries, and the list goes on and on. Whatever the case may be, in that particular moment when you have an active shooter in a safe zone, while it's true the police who are only minutes away, sadly, most of this stuff goes down within the first few seconds. And I think that the police everywhere have done a great job in all these instances. But the police can only be there when they're summoned. So I think one of two things. First and foremost, I think it's time that a government watchdog group, I think, must be formed, number one. Number two, we need to go into each and every school, public school within the United States, and we must set parameters and mandates with regard to guns, the handling of guns, the discharging of guns, but more importantly, the professional training of those individuals that will be handling those guns. Further to that, we need to educate the gun holders within the school with the same training as police officers, because in some cases, God forbid, they are going to have to make split-second decisions. And these decisions have to be based in thought and educated theories. There's no time for guesswork. The other thing that this came out of a military get-together here with a bunch of folks that were in the service, and we've talked about this, and I think it makes sense. Just imagine that going to school and, it could be in a major metropolitan area, it could be San Bernardino, it could be whatever, but we have the Army, Marine Corps, whatever, but these are armed, trained individuals. And that presence at the door, in every hallway, patrolling the hallways, patrolling outside, when we are not active in theater outside of the United States, we typically would have folks coming back that are finishing up 2 years that's left on their contract, or a year, or whatever it might be. Putting these folks in the schools just makes sense to me. So you've got a couple options. Bring military in, have them there, because that is a very, very strong deterrent to anyone, even the mentally ill, that this is a game that's been changed, and if you come there looking to hurt people, you're probably going to get your ass shot. That is where we're at, and that's where everyone, whether you're Republican or you're Democrat, you're conservative or you're liberal or you're independent, whatever, what we've been doing since Columbine does not work. How long are we going to continue to allow this, and I hate to even use the word, but it's true, slaughter of innocent lives, when we know that there is at least one or two options available that will stop this? That's our show, folks. Appreciate you being here. We'd like to know what you think. So please visit us at thespearsyspin.blogspot.com and let us know what you think. Be professional, because we might use what you say on the air. Thanks again, folks, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Thanks for being with us today. Until next time.